Zach Pack in particular, you're right. Like, people look forward to that. And there were 2 different homes that we toured this year who said, I got a Zach Pack. Yes. And it was so cool to talk to them.
That is cool because we don't get that feedback too often.
Yeah, sure.
You know, it's not one of those programs where everybody says, oh, I saw it.
Yes.
But that's cool when we do. And it is great to see that. And then to hear the stories of families that continue to carry those.
Exactly.
And we'd love to hear more of that. We have our Facebook page and our website that you can chat on and obviously make those posts. We encourage that.
Yeah.
But,
so what do you have coming up? Is there a golf outing?
We couldn't pull that together this year, but we have our fall gala.
The gala is coming. We cannot wait for the gala. That is December.
It is the first week in December
4th.
Usually. It's like the weekend, first weekend, first Saturday.
Yeah, if you go to the website, actually, you can get more information on the gala. It's an amazing time. We're Yinderizing it a little bit this year, but you need to go to the gala. That's another way that you can kind of help support. Yeah. Rob, where can everybody find out more information, whether it's the website or social media?
Zachary'sMission.org.
Boom. Look, you knew all the info.
Look how Rob,
Delaney, he did well.
For those listening to the audio part of it, Rob, there's an envelope here from the Lyles that says Zachary's Mission. His hand has been on that almost the entire time.
Yes.
But Rob, we're not letting you open that on the podcast
yet.
because we don't want any of the porches to know what is in there. We don't even know what's in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, when we're done, we'll let you know. The auditors of Rob and Patricia Vince are going to be the ones who calculate who wins the prize, right?
Correct.
All right, cool.
And so we're all, each one of the Porch Tour families and tour or houses that you guys visit are competing to raise the most items for our Zach Pack.
That's right.
So, and that includes a list of items, and that's why I'm being instructed to kind of take everybody here, is to check out our website, check out Facebook. There's a posting out there of the items that we actually have found work best in our Zach Packs.
Yeah.
And what's great, I do want to point out, Patricia and Tracy work very well together in that she gives the Amazon wish list so that the places who are hosting know ahead of time what you're most in need of.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's definitely helpful.
Ask
them the question of the day.
Question of the day. Which one did you go with?
Soaking wet.
Oh, you
wet.
do it because
would you rather
I was assisting technically.
Clearly it's supposed to rain today. We don't want to talk about that. But would you rather be soaking wet from the rain or wet from sweat, meaning it's been super humid?
Wet from sweat.
Really? You
Yes.
hate the rain?
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He looked
He's
like,
like,
what's
yeah,
wrong with you,
Rachel,
fatty?"
I said it twice.
He looked at me and says, "You're a fatty, John."
Not at all.
Like John went to the pool, was one of those fat kids that wore a T-shirt at the pool. I know it.
Why is a therapy session on your Jagged podcast? I have no idea what just happened.
No, I just feel like it. I just felt like I did something good.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you go.
That's
There
a
you
good
go.
way of
All
looking
right.
at it, Rob.
Well, I sweat
You're a
when I eat
gem.
Ernie Ritchie sausage, so I feel like I'm doing something good.
No.
Rob, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
and coming
you.
We love
out here.
having
Thanks
you.
to everybody that supports us and has supported the Porch Tour. We appreciate everybody.
We'd support you time after time.
Thank
You're good
you.
people. Thank you.
All right,
We're
Alex,
still listening
some
to
music.
Alex.
Yes.
But we are talking to Caleb from Making a Martini podcast next. That was great.
Caleb's coming in from the back where we told him, don't make it look like you're sad.
Everything okay?
I think so now.
Was Colin calling?
No. Caleb! All right. The biggest question for this guest is,
Did you bring me a martini?
You know what?
No.
Everyone behind his ass.
Is that right?
Oh man, I know, what a missed opportunity. I just brought my
We
kid.
used to like him.
I know.
Yes.
Well,
don't
it's
even
been great.
watch
Thank
this
you guys.
part. No, listen, we found you to be so enjoyable. We listened to a few podcasts before we met you because we actually met at the City Papers Best of last year. We tried off and on to get you on. You're a busy person. We're busy, and it didn't work out until now. And here we are a year later, walking into that
I know.
party again.
I love it.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
same.
I know. I can't believe it's been a year. It doesn't
It's
feel
been a
like
year.
that long.
Yeah. What have you learned in this year of, as far as podcasting? Because prior, you had you didn't have a ton of episodes out.
Yeah.
But you are so comical and so relatable. And so what have you learned in the last year that sort of elevated your presence?
One of the things I think just with any sort of podcast that is topical, which Making Martini is, it's always something different.
Right. For sure.
Is to really stick with, so much is going on in the world today. It's you gotta stay current. You gotta pick things. Like I just recorded an episode about the Barbie movie 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Which is
How
the
was
most
that?
important thing that's happened
Yeah,
in the
that's
world
what
today.
everyone's saying.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It was great. It was a fantastic time. The drink was chef's kiss.
Okay.
Strong. So,
Sure.
you got to be careful if you do make it at home. Please drink responsibly.
Yeah.
But, just like staying current, because then people are a little bit more interested in what's going on, because, you pop up in all of the like social media, the hashtags and I'm still figuring out social media, but,
Oh my God, who isn't?
It's hard.
Social and media are still figuring out.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. People are still trying to figure out how to be social on the social
Yeah,
media.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just staying current and trying to find the things.
Was
that-
martini your drink? Go prior to that?
It
or
really
just-
was.
Yeah.
Like when I turned 21, I was like, I'm gonna have a martini because I think that's the classy thing to do.
Yeah.
So classy.
And I hated it. I was like, this is awful. I was
Yeah.
like, I can't.
So funny, yeah.
I'm like I drank it because I'm an adult. But and then slowly but surely I was like, no, this is what class means to me, and I just grew a taste
So
for it.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
really
funny.
dumb about martinis. So dry, not dry, dirty. Help me out with that lingo.
So my personal favorite is the dirty vodka martini.
Okay.
And so dirty vodka basically just means that you're adding olive juice into it, and you can make it
okay.
as dirty as you want. They have a filthy martini, which is a bit too much for me.
Okay.
it's like a brown martini
Yeah.
basically at that point.
All right.
And then a dry martini is made with either vodka, gin, and vermouth. So
Okay.
a dry vermouth or sweet vermouth, depending on what you like. to
but a
keep it.
traditional martini is.
The traditional classic is a dry gin martini. I
Oh,
believe.
okay. Okay.
That's the
What
most
about an
traditional.
espresso martini? Raise your hand if it's your favorite.
Well, I don't know what martini I wouldn't say is my favorite. But yeah, so I'm slowly but surely learning all of like the different lingo and all that fun stuff. And
Well, hey, whenever you have us on your podcast, we're going to tell you how the martini, how chocolate martinis got us to Q92.9.
that's the theme
story.
of
That
the
is
martini.
literally
That's
the
the theme of
story.
the episode. Then is the chocolate martini. 100%.
That is so funny. It really is the story. But I'm like you. It's interesting that we have the same story. It was the classy drink, and I would watch people get it, with great garnishes. I mean,
Yeah.
typically the olive, but different things. And I'd think, wow, I wish I liked that. Just like beets and martinis. Now, beets, I've not grown accustomed to. Martinis, I have, but the espresso has become my absolute favorite.
It's amazing. I'm
Yeah.
still a fan of the ideal martini would be a dirty vodka martini with blue cheese stuffed olives.
Oh,
He
wow.
is my soulmate.
Okay.
Okay, can we just talk about this? Oh my God,
So,
geez, that's
so we
amazing.
won't ask you silly questions like
Yes.
who's your favorite guest because that's just silly. But I do want to know, podcasting is hard when
Yeah.
you're trying to keep that routine.
Yeah.
And like some days you might be going, oh, we have to podcast today, right?
Yeah.
And because you want to keep the routine.
Yep.
But what is a guest that you had scheduled and you just, not that you were worried about the guest, but you were worried about yourself being into it and you go, oh my God, that was a really good podcast and I didn't anticipate that.
One of my favorite episodes that I was just really not. I was like, oh my, this is so much work. It was a Greek mythology episode. And it was actually for Pittsburgh Pride in 2021. We auctioned off a guest spot, so
Okay.
whoever won would get to pick the episode. Luckily for me, it was a friend of mine that wound up winning, so I was like, oh, that could have gone south.
Yeah.
But he chose Greek mythology, and I was like, that is such a big topic. So we were like, we'll focus on the main 10. Gods or whatever like that was, and I had like 20 pages of notes. I was like, this is so much. How are we going to cover this? And it wound up being the most interesting. It could have had a lot to do with the drink that we made that I was just telling Mickey about. I was like, it goes down smooth and it is strong.
Yeah,
so
right.
Just be careful. But it was so good. And then, after the first one, we were so into it. We were talking about it because the episode is called WTF Greek Gods.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are an explicit podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Be
Little
careful.
bit, yeah.
Be careful about who you listen
Yeah,
to.
I
with.
know, right?
There's some episodes, just don't listen around kids.
Yeah, just don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not a hard
Or at
thing.
work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Not safe for work unless you work at Steel City Media. You can listen
Yeah.
to whatever you want.
There you go.
Yeah.
From the City Paper nod last year, did it encourage you to kind of up your game? Because let's face it,
Yeah.
the podcast world has been saturated at this point.
So much.
Yeah.
And honestly, I kind of contributed to that because I started my podcast
Yeah.
in 2020 when we
Sure.
were
Yeah.
at home with nothing to do. And I was
Right.
like, oh, that's what you do in 2020. You start
Yeah.
a podcast.
Right.
But I think that getting that recognition, one, it was more so unexpected in that I wasn't even aware that we were on the list.
Yeah.
Someone actually wound up telling me. I went, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And then just, so much came from it. Obviously, look where I am today. I'm here with you guys.
please.
And, you know, it was really sweet, and I was very honored. But I was like, all right, well, we got to go then. Let's do
Yeah.
this.
Yes, exactly,
You know?
yeah.
And it felt good. You know, it felt, you know, it helped me. I think the day after the party, I was like, all right, let's get the next 10 episodes laid out, get the guests, get it
Exactly.
scheduled,
It's
get
the
the notes
push you
done.
need,
Yeah,
Yeah, because as we
absolutely.
know, you know, a lot of people start a podcast because they want to make money.
Yeah.
And that's not it. You
And
have to
it's-
start it with
it's not
passion.
it.
And it has to continue to be a passion,
Right.
otherwise it's not
It
going to
is,
continue
exactly.
to be.
If
So
you're not
getting
having
that
fun.
sort of validation and relevancy is pretty cool to push you forward.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I mean, if you're not having a good time, I mean, then why do it? You're just
Right.
going to make yourself
Exactly.
unhappy.
Exactly.
But if you have a good time, and granted, that's the beauty of mine is that we drink while we do it, so eventually it becomes a good time, you know, usually.
Right. Look at Day and Ed. I mean, the
yeah.
Drinking Partners podcast
Yeah.
start. I mean, they literally would get hammed, and so
Yeah.
it's not a bad premise.
Yeah, it does happen sometimes.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we are in, you haven't asked yet, but I'll set it up for you. We're going to have a podcast with you. You're going to have John and Rachel on. We're going to have an
Yes.
espresso martini theme.
Yes.
I don't know. We'll do it live. We'll have a
Yeah.
place. And then Monica will come and record it for you. Ready, guys?
Yes.
Okay, it was great seeing everybody.
Yeah.
We're going to do the Making a Martini podcast.
Bye. Thank you.
And we will tell the Q92.9 story.
Oh, yeah, we will tell you that.
very
Yeah,
excited.
that is pretty funny.
I know this. All right.
We love the fact that you have a passion for it because you're right. That's so important.
Yeah.
What would be the biggest advice that you would give someone starting now?
Oh my gosh. Pick a theme or an idea that you are currently passionate about. Don't go into it thinking, oh, I'm going to do relationship stuff, because unless you're really passionate about talking about relationships,
Yeah.
you're going to get bored pretty quick.
Yeah.
You know, so pick something that you're passionate about, and then don't pay attention to the numbers, because the numbers are
That's a
going
great-
to
100% agree.
drive you
Great
absolutely
piece of
insane.
advice.
There are some days where I'll have like 100, and there will be days where I have literally 0.
Yeah.
And if you like look every single day,
Yeah.
which I did to start off, and I was like, oh, because it can get discouraging.
It's like the stock market.
Yeah, it
they
really
tell you not
is.
to look at your stock market
Yeah.
funds because, you know, it goes up and down. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Just be passionate about it and
Yeah.
don't lose the drive. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree with you.
We
This
love
is
it. For
awesome.
God.
Dude, you want our question of the day?
Well, where can
Yes.
everybody find you and
Okay.
follow you first? Do you have a
so,
website?
Yes, makingamartini. What is my website? I should
Remember if
probably
you're org
know.
or com.
I don't remember.
you
It's
want me to look you up?
.com. Yeah, makingamartini.com.
All right. If not, Google
Just
it.
Google
Just
it.
Google it. I'm
If
the
you don't-
only one.
Wait, one of our radio guests said to us, if you don't know how to find a podcast this day and age, you shouldn't be listening.
That's
Right?
honestly very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're available on all platforms, social media at
Yeah.
Making a Martini, Facebook at Making a Martini, wherever you get your podcasts.
Well,
we're there.
as Rachel always said, everybody has their 5 minutes or 10 minutes with blah, blah, blah. And this is yours. It's
Yeah.
based on a martini, and I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
It's really super cool that you
great.
found that little bit of an angle.
Yeah.
And you're an inquisitive person, it seems. So
Yeah.
it seems that you're a guest that enjoy your time even before they start to drink.
Yeah, usually there's only really ever been about 4 or
I
5
was
people
gonna
that I haven't known that have come on the show.
Yeah.
Like to start. Usually everyone else I've known.
Okay.
And I would say that those 5 episodes are honestly, no offense to my friends, I guess, but they're more interesting because it's so much more
Yeah, it's someone you don't know.
informational, and it's, you get to meet someone new and
And
get
it helps
someone's-
you hone in on your craft because you're
turns it into more like interview style as opposed to.
yeah.
I mean, granted, like I said, we're still drinking, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should have thought of this. Caleb, we're so glad that you came on, and
Yes.
we really appreciate you podcasting, and we wish you the best and hope that you are #1
you.
podcast this time for Best Of with City Paper. And we're glad that you know that you're a .com, not a .org. But here is your question of the day. So it's about to rain, supposedly, so I don't want to jinx it, but would you rather, how did I phrase this? It was so clever. Soaking wet or wet from sweat? What would you rather be?
soaking wet.
Yeah, same. Who wants to sweat? Not
I
me.
know. I hate
Because
it.
when you get
It's
the Tracy's
awful.
fanning herself, I'd rather pour down rain.
All
Who
the
cares?
people, like Rob
Other
and,
than Rob, what is
and
wrong
Ken,
with him?
they're like, yeah, we want to work out. No,
No.
we don't.
Never.
no, you silly people.
Gosh.
Yeah.
The only lifting I do is the glass to the mouth.
Caleb, you're a pleasure, just like we knew you would be.
Thank
Stay in
you.
touch, and we will
Absolutely.
talk soon.
Thank
Thanks
you guys
for
so
joining us.
much. Thanks for doing this.
Absolutely. All right, next up, the one and only Rob Rossi. Make sure
Rob
you're listening
Rossi.
to our Al and Alex music first.
That's the real deal. Hey, good job.
What's that? Who said that? Oh, did he? I think I want that water. Do you guys want water? Does anybody want
Oh
water?
yeah, I'll take a water. Actually, that water right there
This
is
one?
really good.
No, I
I've been
thought-
staring at it.
If you open up their fridge, there's surprises.
Where's Rob Rossi?
I don't know. Where's Rob?
We're looking at the bottom of the pool for Rob Rossi. He might be. Wait, if Ken's missing, maybe they're looking at Ken's sports memorabilia. We might want to go get him. Ken had told us that he has a great sports memorabilia. 2 rooms. He gets 2 rooms in the house. One's his Steeler room and one is his Penguins room. And he probably has Rob Rossi looking at it right now. But reminding you one more time, if you didn't get in on the porch tour, no big thing, because really you could still donate to Zachary's Mission. Thanks, Rach. At any time, go to zacharysmission.org. They're always looking for items and food, or items and money, because the thing is that they're such a small organization that even $100 is more like $1,000 to them because of the toothpaste and all the stuff that they go by. It's cheaper stuff, but last year, I think we raised enough items to make like 500 Zach packs or something like that, which was super cool. And we're delaying on Facebook Live for Rob Rossi. And if Rob Rossi doesn't show up, the runner-up is, and taking the place of Rob Rossi, is Rachel Rennebeck.
I worked with them. Does that count? Like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Oh my God, that's really good.
I know, the lemon. We kept eyeing
It's
up
like
that
lemon water. And can I have cucumbers for my eyelids,
Listen,
please?
That's what we asked for in our retainer, in our rider, but not everybody does it. Rob,
I knew it.
he knew it. We knew that's where you were. You're good. Do you need a water, Rob?
No, I got my magic juice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. Athletic writer, Pittsburgh, awesome writer in general, Rob Rossi. Rob, it's been forever since we've seen you on the podcast or even anywhere in public, Batman.
Yeah, not by choice. First, I got to say, and I forget your name, Monica. Sorry, Monica. She has great shoes. You guys got to take a picture of the shoes.
Chuck Taylors.
I love Chuck Taylors.
Yeah.
I was telling her
I knew that.
I was telling her I have a pair of Snoopy Chuck Taylors that I only wear to like certain events, like press conferences, and I wear them to the NHL draft every year. And my mom, in the summer, or in the winter, my house is like Snoopy everything. And my mom was like, you're gonna die single if you keep adding to this collection. And I'm like, well, if that's the price I have to pay.
Right.
But she was telling me she's a Snoopy fan. I'm like, I thought it was just weird middle-aged men.
Uh-oh, guys.
So I like the fact that I'm just going to set this up that Rob said he wears those shoes to very important events. Certainly he didn't wear them to the
No.
podcast.
I like
we weren't
what I
good
love
enough.
about you guys is I'm always comfortable with you, so I wore my comfortable shoes.
There you go. So Rob,
You're so cute.
you've been through so much since we last saw you. I think we were on a porch tour
Couple
in
years
North
ago,
Hills,
yeah.
And so let's just get an update. You're still at the Athletic, but
Yeah.
you've had some health issues. Where do you want to start? We know you're still
Yeah,
writing
we have a couple
Evgeny
categories.
Malkin bibliography or biography,
yeah.
whatever. So tell us where you want to start.
I don't.
Let me ask you this
I don't want to
question.
bore everybody.
No, let me ask you this question, Rob. You went through a serious medical issue, and I thought it was interesting that you played it out over social media, and you did that for a reason. Was that therapeutic to you? Is that because you want other people to know what was happening and be educated? Because I see like cancer patients, they put, Katie is one of our people, and she puts her
Katie, I know Katie.
Yeah.
She's the best.
So is that what was that like for you?
Kara,
to do that?
I think, was very. I don't know Kara other than like.
But Kara was, yeah.
Kara was.
Okay, yeah, right.
So I guess I'll try to be brief. It was the summer of 2021. I had been seeing a neurologist for migraine, which I've had a good bit of my life. The migraines were kicking up. They were going from like maybe one every other week to then like twice a week. By the end of that summer, maybe like September, it was almost every other day. And I should have definitely, looking back, been more aggressive. But I thought like I was treating it. And then late in October, and this was the first season back in terms of covering hockey where we were allowed really in the buildings around people.
Sure.
And I was at practice one day, and Jen Bolano Ridgely, who's the VP of Communications of the Penguins, who I've known for 20 years, I remember her walking past me and say, you don't look good. Is something wrong? And I said, yeah, I don't feel good. It kind of feels like I had a migraine, but instead of starting the way it normally does, it all hit at once. I went home. I don't remember much, but 3 days later, I had practically lost the ability to speak without a significant stutter and stammer, and my right arm had a tremor, and I was super sensitive to all sensory. I was very lucky that my neurologist, my psychiatrist, my talk therapist, and my general doctor worked really well together. And by November, I couldn't work. So from November through like May, I had to leave. I had to take leave, and it was called functional neurological disorders. It's something that most people probably can have, but also isn't something that's widely recognized because the symptoms can vary. I was actually lucky. I know people that have limb paralysis from it. I learned a lot about it, but you asked me to get to your question. I'm a storyteller. I'm also, as I think I said to Rachel once, I'm also unabashedly somebody who makes his living digging for information so that I can get at the truth. So I thought it would be hypocritical, especially since I had been always open about my ADHD and my anxiety and stuff like that, not to be open about this. When I realized that it was not a widely recognized or publicized condition, I thought I could maybe bring a modicum of attention to it. But mostly, I spent 7 months of my life not being able to tell my own story or any stories. And I've always just assumed that I went into journalism because I make sense of the world by other people's stories. The only way I could control
great
anything,
point, yeah.
the only way I could control anything was to make those videos. So they
Yeah.
were therapeutic. I found out later that they were really hard to make because it would take me, it wasn't like I just set up. Like I had to like make sure I was in a place where I could kind of talk, and I didn't realize how jarring they were for people. I didn't care. It was, and then I realized it was kind of becoming a diary for me to see. And then it was a way to share some of what I was going through, because so much of the way I overcame it was through various therapies. I did talk therapy, I did occupational therapy, I did singing. Singing really helped, believe it or not. I had happened to be taking singing lessons during the pandemic because I just wanted to find...
I didn't know that.
I wanted to learn about the process. Shout out to Beth.
Yeah, you
Beth
told us
Ward,
this somewhere along the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Why wasn't it Rob Rossi and the Jags? What happened?
Yeah.
I don't know.
My singing teacher is very kind about my singing, but I don't know that I would. I pay her. I don't know that I have enough money to pay everybody else to. But the singing unlocked my speech, because what I was able to do was, like, instead of being like, "I'll never be a beast of burden," I was like, "I have to learn to talk again." So I would find these songs that I would just be able to speak rhythmically to.
Wow.
And it really helped unlock a lot.
Wow.
So came back to work last summer. I didn't feel about like myself until about February of this past year. And even the thing about FND, it's called functional neurological disorders. I encourage anybody to sort of look it up, because you might be going through something that actually presents as FND,
Sure.
and you might not be getting the right type of treatment.
That's a great
Do
point.
you think, Rob, from your reporting and researching, do you think general practitioner doctors are aware of it and able to
That's a good
diagnose it, or do you think it gets missed because a lot of people are not aware?
The good ones are.
I got you. Okay.
The ones that are open to not being stuck in a lane about something.
Okay.
I had one doctor, when I saw in an emergency room early, tell me it was just because I was on mental health medicines, and he didn't believe in mental health medicines.
I got you.
Yikes.
Luckily, a friend who shares my lack of subtlety made it very clear to that doctor that when Rob is healthy, this will become a problem for you.
Yikes! And remember that, right?
But yeah, I mean, so I don't do any of it for sympathy.
Yeah.
Sure. Right.
I've had people tell me, friends and people that don't know me, that you were very courageous to go public. I don't see it that way.
Right.
I felt an obligation. I have a very small platform, but it is a platform,
Right.
and I wanted to draw attention to it. But also selfishly, I wanted to show people what was going on, because I couldn't really talk and I couldn't really write. And that's big parts of my life. And I have to also say, people from my high school, Keystone Oaks High School, hi everyone.
Shout out.
People from the Professional
out to
Hockey
you.
Writers Association, including people from the Penguins, people from general managers in the league, people in the hockey community, just fans. They had to set up a GoFundMe because the medicine was so expensive towards the end. And I basically wiped out a big chunk of my savings. And what really was overwhelming is, as you guys know, I've never been afraid to sort of play the villain as a reporter.
Right.
You like it.
So many people were so kind. In a way, it softened me.
Yeah.
I was just so overwhelmed at times by the generosity of spirit. I reconnected with a lot of people that I hadn't talked to in years. I look at it as a blessing, because it goes into remission. It can be triggered. In fact, I had sort of a mild relapse in June, but I looked at it as a blessing because I figured, I never thought I wasn't going to get better. It never occurred to me that I wouldn't. So I just put all my effort into healing. And I think the journey I'm grateful for, because, sorry, that's my mom calling right now. I should have put my
Is she
phone
not
on
watching?
silent.
Yeah.
Probably.
He doesn't have the shoes
Yeah,
on.
I don't have the shoes on, Mom. There's hope for me yet to get a date despite the apps. The apps are no good. I think it was a blessing, my health journey, because I think it forced me to reprioritize, maybe slow down a bit, pay attention to more things. And when you go through something that takes away the life as you know it, you have to discover a life that you're comfortable with and that you would want.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I mean, I don't take for granted every day that I can go, every day that I can keep my arms steady, that a loud sound doesn't send me into whatever, that I don't stutter. It's I don't want to say blessing, because I don't want to turn it into religious, but it's a gift.
I get it. That's a
Yeah.
great word. And I guess the question that you
And I drink this weird green juice daily.
What
because
is that? What is it?
It's called Athletic Greens. It gets you basically a full throttle dosage of nutrients. One of the things I really had to learn to do was when I got sick, I had to go off my ADHD meds because FND affects your nervous system. Basically the way FND works is this. It's called functional neurological disorders, but your brain is functioning. Your nervous system is not receiving the message for some reason.
Okay.
So you have to recalibrate nervous system. I also have to give a shout out to one of my therapists, well, two of my therapists, Dana Kirkpatrick and Annika Schuster. They both work at Calm Pittsburgh. I started this type of newer age therapy called, I always screw up the letters, EMDR, which is basically it's for trauma, and it's designed to recalibrate your brain so your brain heals.
Wow.
From trauma. And Dana suggested it for the FND, and it really helped. And it's been so helpful that I stick to it today,
That's awesome.
regularly. So,
Yeah.
But I don't know where I was going. I
No,
ramble
you're
again
fine.
now.
No,
But I
you're
have a
not
question.
rambling.
I have one more
Wait.
question for you. Oh no, you go. Go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
God. Did you notice that during the rebuilding, because we don't think that there was necessarily a break with Rob Rossi, even though you noticed it as a break and sort of, healing. Did you find yourself, now that you are feeling more yourself and that you sort of have it under control, Are you more what you used to be? Has it helped your writing?
No,
Has it helped your
it's helped my
creativity?
writing.
Okay.
I'm definitely able to find a greater depth. I always thought one thing as you guys know, I hate everything I write.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember you saying
I had
that.
this conversation with my editor. Like, I've been trying sort of new styles out this summer, and my editor, Alex, is like eager to work with me on it. But I tell him every time I submit a story, like, it's done, it sucks, make it better. That's why I love editors. But I don't have any confidence as a writer. As a reporter, I'm arrogant, but as a writer, I'm not.
Understood.
But I've been able to more fearlessly try some writing, and I think more empathetically pursue some stories, because
How about that?
I'm just not the same Rossi.
Sure.
I mean, that doesn't mean I'm less. I think I'm more of a reporter, and behind the scenes, I would like to think people would tell you that I've always been pretty welcoming to other members of the media, that I like to sort of play a persona publicly, but maybe I'm not. It's like I always looked at it as like I get to be a soap opera character publicly, but that's not how I do my job.
Yeah.
That's not how I treat people. But I'm just so grateful now for everything. I mean, I posted the other day, I would have scoffed at this earlier. I think I tweeted the other day, a Thursday, did some writing in the morning, got a training session in. I've been training a lot. I hadn't been able to train for a year and a half. I recently got back to that being clear. But I basically listed just these basic things, like saw my parents, ran some errands for my cousins, had dinner with a friend, talked on the phone with a friend without stuttering, and I was just like,
Who is this
it's
guy?
a pretty good Thursday,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Because there's just a lot of negativity.
Sure.
And negativity used to fuel me. I certainly before I got into therapy, but even before that, even during therapy, when I knew I was going through some changes, I felt very comfortable when chaos happened. I used to say, people used to call me a pot stirrer, and I used to say, I'm not a pot stirrer. I boil the pot and throw it everywhere because I'm really comfortable in uncomfortable situations. That's how I normalized things. I'm not like that anymore. It's I don't want to be like that, but I also can't be like that. I know my limitations greater now.
I love that you found silver linings in the fact that something terrible, that's life, right? Something terrible happens, you get through it, or you are going through it, and you figure out how you're a better person for it.
You have to be.
You have
I
to.
think the thing I learned about this was getting back to people would be like, that wasn't a humble brag. People would be like, you were so courageous to be like you just went after it. And I'm like, I wasn't going to get any better feeling bad
Absolutely.
for myself
Yeah,
or
right.
being
Yeah.
angry.
But
I
Rob,
just
you
wasn't.
said this to me yesterday. I mean, my words, not yours, on the radio. You had to be matter of fact, and you had to tell your story, or else you would have been a hypocrite. And
Yeah,
that's
and
the
I hate
truth.
hypocrites.
Yeah,
I try not to hate
that's what
things
you're
as much,
taught. Yeah,
but I hate hypocrisy, and I hate
Liars.
liars. But I'm really not cool with facts being disputed.
Yes,
confirmable
understood.
facts.
Understood.
I'm a reporter, so we like
Sure.
that. But I do not do well with hypocrites.
Understood.
And I fully admit that we're all hypocrites in some way.
In some way,
yeah,
you're right.
I'm being hypocritical saying I completely hate
No,
hypocrites because
I
I'm
get
sure
it.
I'm one.
So,
but,
what's your
yeah.
question that
My question was going to be, when you see someone having a high-level migraine issues and things like that, do you feel like, I should jump in and kind of tell them what I've been through? Sort of like an ex-smoker, a previous heart
Not
attack
if they
victim.
don't offer it.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
if they offer it, I sort of treat it the way I treat my mental health. If people bring up around me, they know that I'm very open about my ADHD and my anxiety and things that go along with that. I'm neurodivergent. If people bring that up, I'm happy to explain it, but I'm always careful to say, this is how it affects me.
Yeah.
This is how I
Sure.
handled it.
Doesn't mean it's
that
gonna
doesn't mean there's a right or a wrong way. I would say though that if migraine is something you are afflicted with, migraine can be a symptom of functional neurological disorder, even if migraine kind of triggered it for me. So I will try to but talking at people about what they should do doesn't work.
Yeah.
You're right.
You
Okay.
know,
So
it
offer it up
yeah.
if asked. Go to Evgeny.
Right. All right. So we have
Go to
two
Evgeny.
quick questions
Yeah.
for you.
I
How's
always
the
ramble
Evgeny?
too long for you
You
guys.
don't
I'm so
ramble.
sorry.
We
no,
love
no,
talking
not
to
at
you.
all. This is.
She's never going to be able to cut this. So.
Yes, she will.
Oh, we don't want to cut it.
No, we really
actually.
don't want to cut it.
How's the Evgeny Malkin book kind of proceeding? Obviously, you're not finished with it because he's not finished. He's what, 37 now?
Yes.
And then
Catching
my
up, I
other
tell
big
him.
question is that all of the fans were like, "We need Carlson. We need Carlson.
Yeah.
We got Carlson." Did we get Carlson because all the fans were like, "We have to have that," or is that really a smart move in your opinion?
Well, I'll start with the first,
All right.
because everybody always asks, when's the book coming out?
Yeah.
I have written a lot of pages and chapters. We have not settled on which will go in. It's constantly changing because his life is changing.
Yeah.
Sure.
We agreed, I think, in 2019 that it won't come out until after he's done. He's got 3 more years,
Yes.
more years left on his contract.
Same.
Yeah, I don't have 3 years on my contract, so hey, I'd love that. But Evgeny's in a really good place in life. He's had a really hard year. I'm lucky enough to know a lot of Russians, or more than most people I know, and including him. And it's been a really hard time for them. I mean, their
Yeah.
country's at a war that isn't wildly supported,
That's
and
right.
they live in a really different world than ours.
Yeah.
So, but he's in a really good place. In fact, I think for his birthday, which was on the 31st, I think shortly after, him and his son Nikita, who's really taken to soccer, went to see Paris Saint-Germain, the soccer club over in Paris.
Okay.
One of the big ones, because Nikita's really big into soccer, and I know I joke with Nikita all the time, like, why not hockey? He's like, I like soccer.
Yeah, I
and,
mean, come
and then
on.
Evgeny's like, he need hockey. He's really good at hockey, though. I mean, he's going to be. I think he's got all of his dad's athletics skill and all of his mom's savvy and intelligence. So that'll be a really good combination. So, but he'll be back soon. Carlson. So, believe it or not, management doesn't really listen to the fans for personnel decisions. There is a adage.
I just think of Joe, the scorekeeper, going, "Hey, Pompiani, I think they need Carlson."
Right. The adage, I think, is maybe exactly this: if you start listening to the fans, you'll become one.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good addition. The Penguins are an older team. There's no denying that. They had a very trying past season. They missed the playoffs, which is a rarity around here anymore. And they needed shaken up. I think Kyle Dubas, their president of hockey operations and general manager, is he's a really smart guy. In fact, I said to somebody, I think I said to him, you're 37. He's old as Malkin, right? He's 37. He's unnervingly good looking. He's intimidatingly intelligent and extraordinarily personable. And as a 45-year-old who's been in the National Hockey League longer than he has, I'm extraordinarily envious.
Yeah.
But he's done a really good job of, I think, giving them a shot to
Last hurrah.
yeah, I mean, like the way I've been describing it to people, and I don't know why I use this because I don't sew. And I definitely don't now.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but so the needle, right? And it has the opening.
Yeah.
Well, the opening was really small before.
Yeah.
The opening's bigger now.
Okay.
It's not as big as it used to be.
Okay.
But I could at least tell you now how they can thread the needle.
Okay.
I couldn't do that under the previous regime.
Okay.
I'm not sure they knew what thread was. And if they had needles, they weren't using them the correct way. I shouldn't say that. That implies something I don't mean.
Yeah,
So
there
is
you
Kyle Dubas a genius in waiting? I guess that's
I
to
think
be
he's a
determined.
wonder kid,
Yeah.
and I take great delight that the hockey mecca in Toronto is so. What is the word, like when you become obsessed with a former partner? Like, what's that phrase?
Rachel's going to tell you in about 3 years.
Yeah, yeah. I
What
don't
is it?
like when you're
Smitten.
Well, not smitten. They're like he got fired there.
I want to play a vocabulary game with you.
Yeah, they're kind of like stalkers, right? They like
Okay.
Oh.
all our comments now on our stories that Josh Yohe and I write are like angry Maple Leaf fans that are just like I still get the Rossi, you stink, and I'm like, okay, I read the comments. But what I really like, they're just Toronto fans that are angry that the guy they fired came here.
Right.
Like,
So just stop
I don't
it.
get that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, love the one you're with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody will get that reference.
No.
But
I get it.
I got
I get
it.
that.
Rob,
Love
where
the
does
one you're
everybody
with.
find you online? The Athletic is a great place, a great home for you.
Yeah, so theathletic.com, Josh Yohe, my partner in crime for a long time. We cover the Penguins there. My role is going to be expanding a little bit. I'm going to get to still do a lot of Penguins, like 80%, but I'm also going to get to do a lot of sort of broader national stories, which
Okay.
I want. I mean, when
That's
you've been
cool.
covering a team for 20-some years, you kind of like,
You're now on the Toronto beat.
no, not on the Toronto beat. No, not that. But I'm excited to sort of take on some new challenges in addition to still covering the Penguins. But so I was telling I'm totes bad with names anymore. Martini.
Oh yeah,
Oh, Caleb.
Caleb.
Caleb, yeah, I'm so bad.
You're fine.
It's the one weird thing about the FND. Like, I feel like I've become a dog in reverse. Like, don't they say dogs have no short-term memory and I
Yeah.
have long-term? I can't remember somebody's name as soon as they say it, but 10 days from now I'll be like, Caleb with
How was
Caleb
Caleb?
Martini. Yeah, I actually told him, like, I want to do a thing with him. Maybe you guys can help where I can't drink anymore because of
Yeah.
my illness. So I said, like, we should do like a very colorful non-alcoholic martini.
Yeah.
Which I'm not even sure is a martini. But,
Yeah, but let's just make a drink.
I try
Okay.
to make I was talking to Caleb about like, I had to join so many social media sites when Twitter started going haywire.
Yeah.
That I spent a week just like Blue Sky, which I call Blue Ski, because I can't pronounce names. What's the one from the Threads?
Threads.
Yeah.
There was another.
Well, you sew now, so the
I
threads make
sew
sense.
now.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess anywhere you look for me outside of theathletic.com, it will be at real_Rob Rossi.
Got it.
And the reason I do that is I don't want to be fake _Rob Rossi.
There you go.
So-
See, he's as practical as you get.
Yeah.
Rob, we love catching up with you. We love everything that you're doing. You're so Pittsburgh.
You guys, I just have to say, you need to go to Converse. You can design your own. You can design your own Chucks.
Okay.
You jag off Chucks.
Oh,
Like the three of you.
In for you, jag off
man.
Chucks.
Yes.
You should totally do that.
You could get-
did
you-
find a shoe place.
A pair for each of you.
Okay.
A pair for each
Monica
of you.
and Tracy, yeah.
Tracy, and then do a gift pair, because you could write this off then, and give it away for charity.
We need Rob Rossi.
Rob
in our
Rossi,
life more
Vice
often.
President of Marketing at Jagoff Media.
Rob, answer the question
Marketing
today.
and
Would you rather
merchandise.
sweat or get rained on? Is he making fun
I mean,
of me?
that
I'm not
seems like
looking
a
at him.
circumstantial question. like,
The question was better.
if I'm at
the way I
a
said-
beach, I don't want to get rained on.
All right.
I would rather
Oh, that's a
sweat.
good
No,
point.
here in Pittsburgh, soaking wet or wet from sweat.
Okay.
Do you love how I did that?
Yes. This is again. We always seem to go. We always seem to end these with your jag off after dark, which I still think you guys should do. And
Well-
I'd be happy to help curate that. Maybe let Monica take that one over.
There you go.
The jag off after dark. So first of all, I will say I would rather get rained on because in Pittsburgh there's rarely a week that goes by when we don't.
Okay.
But also because sweating is gross.
Right.
I sweat sitting, so
That's Tracy.
you know what I'd really rather do? I would allow myself to be rained on while sweating in a car.
Oh, okay.
If it got this blasted construction downtown
Here we
and
go.
uptown.
John
thing.
Chamberlain's
There we
going to
go.
jump in.
Now
He
the light
agrees.
minds go.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, so you back me up on this.
I'm
And I'm
with
not
you.
imagining
Dude.
this. This isn't like I have people online being like, you're like anti. I said no. Like to be critical of a place you love is to show it love.
That's
Like-
right, yeah.
Like this is not a political statement or this is a. I could not get to the arena the other day. I've been going to that arena since it
Yeah,
opened.
I know exactly what you mean.
Oh, here
I
we go.
drove in parts of Pittsburgh where I'm like, I didn't know this was a road. Oh, this
Yeah.
in fact is not a road. And then I couldn't get off. I come through the Liberty Tube, so I couldn't get off the exit. I had to loop around the
Yeah, I
convention
know
center.
exactly what you're talking about.
And there weren't there weren't. Usually, when there's construction, you see like officers like helping.
No.
that wasn't.
You're
the
just like,
case.
don't run into the orange fence, and you'll be
Yeah,
all right.
and, like,
right.
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, on a serious note, I don't see how it's good for the. Like, I want Pittsburgh to be thriving, and
Sure.
I've heard a lot of stories. Maybe you have of people avoiding things downtown because they're
Yeah.
like, it's a headache.
I went to a Penguin
agree.
game last year, and I texted my buddy who works at the Penguin and said, the city is trying to ruin your team.
Yeah, they're very upset about it, and they have a right to be. because
Yeah.
And
some
now
of the
angry 40s and 60-year-olds who are talking about
I'm going
that.
to get angry
I'm
Chuck
not,
Taylor.
I'm not an angry. I just explained it.
I know,
We just talked for 7 hours about how I'm no longer angry.
You're not. You're not.
But I am angry. But like that's the thing. That's a trade-off. If they will fix the construction,
Yeah,
you can
you're right.
rain on me while I'm sweating without air conditioning in my car.
There you go. All
I
right.
We
love
can get that on
that's where
video.
it went. Yeah.
Monica can get that on
Monica
video,
got it.
and like it can go
Document
viral.
That's
I don't know why anybody would want to watch that. But just see me
Beloved.
sweating and being rained on while I sing Rolling Stone songs.
Rob Rossi, you're the best. Thank,
you
for
guys.
joining
Love you
us
guys.
as always.
Much
Rob
love to
Rossi.
everybody out there.
Right back
And
at
hey,
ya.
this is a great cause, and I
Zachary's
just want to
Mission.
Zachary Mission. And I was talking with
Rob?
Rob,
Yep.
and that's an easy name to forget.
He's the real Rob Vince.
I have pledged to help in any way that I can
You're
because
sweet.
that's a really great thing, and we don't. I learned a long time ago we don't pay enough attention to how hard it is for a lot of kids and their families in this world.
the families for sure. Yep.
So,
What a good dude.
All right, Rob Rossi.
Music
They
next.
sweat
Coming
too.
up, Alex. Alex, our musician.
Alex.
Does Alex have Chuck Taylor's on?
No.
Oh my
Check
God.
it out.
that went way long.
No, dude, are you kidding
Sorry,
me?
I apologize.
No.
Are you kidding? We love having you.
Listen, if she edits any of it out, we're firing her.
No, don't do that. Please give her the shirts first. She's wearing a Women in Radio shirt.
Listen to Monica on Q92.9 every morning. Tuesdays and Thursdays is the end game. You have to.
favorite.
That is my favorite, the
talks about it
end
every
game.
time.
I'm not allowed to call in
You're coming
because I
back.
work there.
We
I have to go.
set it
It's
up
John
and
Smith.
That's fun.
Catch up with
All right,
Rob.
Alex, here you go.
Al, are you coming on?
Oh yeah, sit in on this. Just don't get hit by the guitar.
You can
All
even
right.
Want
hold
to
this
hear
up.
about the band a
All
little
right,
bit?
you can
before
even be the
we-
mic stand when it gets to that point, or you can
Love it, we
harmonize,
love it,
whatever
we
you
love
want
it,
to
we
do.
love it.
All right, so welcome to the Jaga podcast. You started us off with a little song, and now you're the crescendo ending. Rob Rossi's hanging out here telling us all about his Evgeny Malkin book and everything. So tell us a little bit about you guys, because I did look you up, and I saw something about a trio, but you said that's wrong. You're now a duo?
Yeah, we have a couple different formats. We play in a duo, Al and Al, and lots of songs in harmony, vocal harmony. And then the trio you're thinking of is called The Ditch,
Yes.
an acoustic brunch of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young songs.
Oh,